Commissioners will come to order. And let us make the Pledge of Allegiance. Jason, would you lead us?
Sure. Please stand and face the flag. Repeat after me. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Frazier? Here. Commissioner Hodge?
Here.
Commissioner Lopez is absent. Commissioner Rooney?
Here.
President Barrera?
Yes. Okay, item C, public hearing. We're going to open the public hearing. A presentation of the Port of Hueneme 2020 strategic plan, followed by opening of a public hearing. This will be an opportunity for the public to provide comments on the 2020 strategic plan for the Port of Hueneme. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us here today at the Port of Hueneme. Today we're going to share some highlights with you of our strategic plan, which has been widely circulated for public review. The plan focuses on the areas of business retention and development, the environment, marketing, technology, and strategic partnerships. This process has included over 100 interviews with stakeholders, including customers, industry, labor, and most important of all, our community. The involvement of our community runs deep in the origins of the Port of Hueneme, for it was the citizens of this district who came together to support Richard Bard in his mission of creating a harbor that would provide much needed commerce and jobs. Certainly it was destiny as much as it was the community that guided and supported Richard Bard in moving forward and creating the port. For soon the nation would become calling on our Port of Hueneme. With the United States at war in 1942, the port was called upon to be a critical conduit, supplying the needed materials to fight the war in the Pacific. The Navy's establishment of an advanced base depot in the Port of Hueneme signaled an important development in the maritime history of the West Coast. Today, as partners in the port, the Navy represents a critical economic engine for our region. A joint use agreement allows the commercial port temporary use of Navy berths and land. In turn, the port provides compensation to the base. Compensation that stays local for important military infrastructure projects. Commercially, the port has developed strong business partnerships with world-class customers, guaranteeing that billions of dollars in trade-related goods continue to pass through our port, providing thousands of good-paying jobs and opportunities for local businesses. For decades, the port has been self-sufficient, paying all of its operating expenses with this important business-generated revenue. But this business model alone will not guarantee our success as a port. Operationally, our growth and sustainability challenges will require leadership with a strong vision, innovation and determination, as well as a keen focus on future opportunities. Currently, the U.S. ranks 28th in the world in transportation infrastructure. Our growth demands change and improvement. Our goal, with your input, is to ensure that future generations will inherit a globally competitive port, a port that continues to provide the maximum benefits for its community. And having said that, I will call on any other commissioner that may have some comments. Commissioner Rooney?
Today's hearing follows a series of workshops that we had in the community, and so many of our partners came together to give us their feedback to build the future of prosperity and improve our community's quality of life. And we continually seek new opportunities to increase the port's economic development footprint in our county. We are a $1 billion economic engine that generates thousands of jobs. And there's so many of our customers in the room tonight, and I'd like you to just raise your hand so we can thank you for the jobs that you create in our community. So our customers, just raise your hands. Also, we appreciate the community being here tonight and showing your commitment to work with us as we grow and prosper as a community. And it's important that you share your thoughts and your ideas as we look at our mission as a public entity to maximize our ability to serve you and to grow our port to its full potential. Thank you.
Okay, hearing no other comments, I have some speaker cards here.
We're going to do the presentation.
Oh, the presentation, I'm sorry. Okay, we have a presentation first, and then we'll have some speakers. Kristen?
Yes. Good evening, Commissioners and members of the public. We're so appreciative of everyone coming out and partaking in our strategic plan process. It does appear that we're having a little bit of a computer glitch, so I might have to do the more traditional presentation and without the slides, but if they come up, I'll certainly speak to those. What we wanted to do was very briefly, before we went into the actual public dialogue, was give an overview of how we got to where we are today and give a quick historic perspective, and then share where we are in the strategic planning process. So what we wanted to do is put a lens on the past. So what the port looked like before 1988, and we have a map, but it's interesting to see how the port has evolved and all the structures that were here on the facility prior to it being developed to support the commercial uses. Are we succeeding, guys?
It's opening now.
It's opening? Okay. This is good now. It's a big file because there's a lot of pictures. But I guess to speak to it, one of the initial awards we actually called our NCEL property, which is the Naval Civil Engineering Laboratory properties, and that was on port, a piece of our port real estate that got moved back over to the base. So we developed that site, we brought in the Pool Carrier site, Del Monte site, who our customers are here, and we developed what we call Wharf 2 and Sunkist site, and those are different various plots of land on port proper. And what we wanted to share with everyone was that was a $56 million investment that was made to support all of the infrastructural improvements dating back to 1988 through 2003. I don't think it's going to come up, guys. So if we break out how we made those investments, we did $10 million worth of repairs to the NCL property. We did the Cool Carrier sheds was a $13.8 million investment. The Del Monte sheds were a $4.2 million investment. And the wharf repairs was a $20 million investment, and the Sunkist property was an $8 million investment. And I raise that as we're building this open, transparent public plan, and we're looking at how we're going to make capital improvements that are supportive of that plan. We do have a history of investment, and so as you'll hear from our consultant team when they come out and talk about some of the concepts that we're looking at, the numbers really aren't that far out if you think about where we've been and where we're going. On top of those investments from 2003, there's been another additional $19 million worth of public infrastructure investment where we added 50,000 square feet to the Del Monte Pool shed, which was $6.8 million. We removed certain tanks and created more laydown area in the 10 acres. We maintained and dredged to 35 feet, which was a $5 million project. We purchased 5 acres off port, which was $2.1 million, and then we reconstructed the south seawall, which was $5 million. So again, here are our major capital improvement projects that we have been able to leverage and bring more commercial business through the port with those investments. So how did we get to where we are today? It's been a 3-year journey. We've, in terms of the strategic planning process, we started, as one of the commissioners noted, with a visioning workshops that we've held annually, where we have developed 5 core priorities, and these include economic vitality, marketing, environment, innovation and technology, and strategic partnerships. And what our strategic plan is now doing is gluing all of the work that we've done over time in these areas and putting it together in what we call a master plan, a master strategic plan. And so some of the work that's, for instance, in the area of environment, in 2012 we rolled out an environmental framework. In terms of economic vitality, we did an economic assessment, we built a business, and we developed a business plan. Work was done by Martin and Associates. In terms of the marketing core priority, we launched a rebranding campaign, and we rebuilt our brand and changed our logo. In terms of innovation and technology, we rolled out our MASS program, which is the Maritime Advanced System Technology Laboratory, where we've opened up the doors of the port to be an incubator to test new technologies, cutting-edge technologies. And then strategic partnerships, very important to us. We continue to leverage our great relationship that we have with the Navy base, working with the communities, working with the government leaders and officials from around the county, all very important. We had our Banana Fest where we attracted 10,000 people to the port to open the doors and have people experience and working port in a new and authentic way. So we've been marching through all these various pieces, but now what we're trying to do is wrap them up into a strategic plan. And we've had 40 interviews with stakeholders from the community, industry, and internal staff. We also had a public workshop, and we've taken all of that information and we built it into the strategic plan draft that's been posted now on our internet and also advertised publicly in many publications. And we're hoping that the people here in the room with us today has had the opportunity to take a look at what we've drafted. We're very eager to see how we put it all together, if we've met the test. And we look forward to hearing your feedback. And very quickly, what I'm going to do is call up on ACOM to give the very high-level highlights of what's inside the strategic plan, and then we'll turn to the audience for their public comment. So one of our strategic, I guess, what would you call implementation strategies, port security technology. We've received many grants and this great system where we can show off all the good work that we're doing, but unfortunately seems to be failing us today. So my apologies for that.
Right.
So it seems we have a new strategic initiative to get the IT situation back under control. Hey, look at that. All right.
Well, here, just really quick, I'll just show you this. As you can see how the port's developed over time. So this is the port pre-1998. You go here, whoopsie. You can see how we developed it and made the various $56 million worth of investments. You can see how we built up staging for the auto and the Ro-Ro business. You can see where the, sure if I can have a highlighter here, but you can see where the 13.8 million, the 4.2, that's where our cold storage sheds are today. You can see the NCL property and the $10 million investment. Looking here, this is the additional work that we did. The $19 million worth of infrastructure improvements, including the deepening, where we purchased the Edison property is actually off port. And then we did additional work to the cold storage and some improvements over on Ward 1 as well. So that just gives a little context of how we have been prudent capital investments to date, and we're looking forward to doing more based on what's happening in the marketplace and in alignment with our strategic plan. And certainly we want the community support and stakeholder and industry support as we move forward. So with that, this is our visions photo to you. I mentioned all this, so I'll just kick it up to the ACOM. There you go.
Great. All right, thank you, Kristen. So we've had the snapshot of the history of the port. We'd like to now take a look, starting today, looking forward, and what's been represented in the strategic plan. And the process that we said has started basically back in the fall of 2014.
Brian.
Oh, into the mic. Okay.
Turn it on.
Okay. No. Okay. All right.
Let's talk about it.
I'll talk about it. All right. I've been accused of that before.
Volume's not high enough.
Excellent. So the strategic plan has basically been available to the public for about a month for review. It's a public-facing document. It basically pulls all of the process to date into one document. It's a policy document talking about business policy and strategy moving forward that will inform decisions, investments, how the actual port operates and administers itself looking forward to be successful and to bring economic value to the region. So basically the format of the strategic plan itself follows the strategic leadership principles that we talked about earlier. It is based upon a whole series of different exercises that we went through over the course of the last year, including
including basically a 30-year look into the future, various conceptual development scenarios based on different types of business practices. We can look forward that far into the future and think about the capital investments and the operations that are required to make those types of scenarios happen. We can then backtrack and think about what type of policies, what type of capital investments are critical, and to try to identify where bottlenecks or other issues might arise so that through the strategic plan we can create recommendations to overcome those issues and mitigate those before they actually have a negative or an adverse impact to the port itself. So when we go back through and we talk about those leadership qualities that we want to go through and the structure of the plan itself, they follow the same format, starting with economic vitality. So this is about business retention and growth for the entire port. So things about like really the relationships, how we go up and expand our opportunities to bring new business to the port, to grow the book of business of our existing customers. It includes things like how we relate back to the Navy, the Army Corps of Engineers, and to the Navy base itself. And also thinking about how we can integrate the strategic planning efforts of the port with the community context. So next is marketing. It's really about how do we, again, look at not only retaining the existing businesses here in Ventura County, but how we can also bring in new business so that we can achieve the goals that we've set for ourselves. From the environmental standpoint, it's about enacting the environmental framework, looking at finding ways of promoting economic development in an environmentally responsible manner, and mitigating issues before they become problems. With innovation and technology, it's continuing the very positive trend that was established with the MASS program. It's also looking at finding other technical solutions, like things like geographic information systems and incorporating other state-of-the-art, state-of-the-industry technologies to ensure that we remain competitive and we can leverage that competitive advantage using innovation and technology, again, to support the goals of the strategic plan. And probably most importantly, it's all about partnerships. It's about the relationship with the Navy, with the community, with the overall other municipal agencies that really come together to make the port what it is today and what it will be into the future. So really quickly, and noting the amount of time that's available, I think we'd like to turn it back over now to the public comment segment. This is basically a quick overview of what that strategic plan is. It's been for review for the last 3 years or so. All right.
Okay, all done. Thank you. That was quick.
Really quick.
Well, we need to hear from these folks.
Yes, I was just writing a note here. I had reviewed a document today about the needs of the infrastructure for the United States of America, and I mentioned earlier that we were 28th in the world in infrastructure improvements, and we need to improve. And I had another note here about America's trade volume is expected to double by the year 2030. The demands of the nation's growing trade volume will exceed the capacity of our current port infrastructure. And I think anybody that's in the business has already seen that's starting to take place. And if this continues to extrapolate into the years 2030 and 2040, we could possibly be losing trillions of dollars of income for the United States. And also, it is estimated as much as 1 million jobs, American jobs, could be lost if we don't keep up with the needs of infrastructure at our ports and transportation. So anyway, having said that, I will now call on our speakers. And our first one is a lady named Nancy Lind.
Oh, sorry.
Good afternoon. Commissioners, Nancy Lindholm, CEO of the Oxnard Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to commend the Board of Commissioners and the staff. This is quite an impressive document. It was a major undertaking that I remember when you started this. It seemed like it just really moved along quickly. I read the document when I received it in the middle of June, and I went back and reviewed it over the weekend. And again, very comprehensive. Just a couple of things I wanted to point out. One was on page 14. It says accommodate the market-based transition from bulk and palletized cargo to containerized operations. I'm anxious to see that happen because I think it really opens the port to all kinds of different markets that aren't there right now. And if there's anything we can do to help with that, please let us know. Because the other item that I just had a comment on was on page 24, which is actually the list of strategic partnerships, and we'd like to make sure that the Oxnard Chamber of Commerce is on that list. Thank you.
Nancy? Can you hear me? As a matter of fact, something that I like to point out is that the Oxnard Chamber of Commerce was very instrumental in the creation of the Port of Hueneme and supported us back in the day when nobody else was supporting us. So thank you,
Day
Nancy.
one, right?
That's correct. So thank you.
I wasn't here to oversee that.
But your spirit must have been here, Nancy.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Next we have Bruce Stansley.
Good evening, Commissioner, staff. Bruce Hensley, Economic Development Collaborative of Ventura County. I want to thank you for the creation of this outstanding, excellent, informative document, as Nancy did just a moment ago. And of course, thanks for the opportunity to comment on it. I guess our first and main comment is we're really happy to see this document that provides a framework and a strategic overview for the whole totality of work, the totality of economic impact that is the Port of Hueneme. We've got different market studies, different economic strategy for the Department of Commerce, but this is really a nicely crafted, comprehensive view. Most specifically, getting into some of the detail, we're hugely appreciative of the element relating to the environment, knowing how important that is to Ventura County quality of life. You're not just a huge economic driver, but a steward of the region. Secondly, in marketing, the degree to which you are strategic in messaging to the world about Ventura County and the assets that we have in Ventura County that offer opportunity for businesses locally and businesses globally. And of course, on the innovation side, which is increasingly important. Lastly, and most specifically, the issue around partnerships. As you know, as an economic development corporation, our passion is to work with the local business community and find ways to improve economic competitiveness. We increasingly believe that that is totally hinged on the degree to which businesses in Ventura County become more savvy about surviving and working in the global economy. Having your leadership expressed in this document, your presence is sort of inspiring to us, it's inspiring to business. It creates opportunity for businesses to think in a different way about the local economy. We are part of the larger world economy. Thank you very much for the document. We're appreciative of it.
Thank you. We have Sharon. And Sharon, I can't attempt your last name. It starts with a K.
Miss Claris. Good evening. Thank you for having us and having this wonderful meeting, and I appreciate all this wonderful information that you handed out to us. I've been a resident here right down the street for almost 30 years. I remember the day when you used to go in your car and drive to the very end of the port and feed the birds. You may remember that. Yeah, back in like the early 80s. Well, I don't know. But I remember doing that. And yes, you all have come a very long way. And thank you for that economic engine that you have provided for our county. Living right down the street here, I had questions regarding environmental impact regarding the port. And I've talked to a couple of folks here regarding that, actually at the last Banana Festival. And basically their remarks were, well, you live near a port, you live near a port. You've got to put up with the light, sound, and noise pollution that happens. So those are my questions that I have. The environmental impact is going to have, if we dredge the harbor another 10, 20, 30 feet, the idea of bringing in larger vessels, and how that is going to impact not Ventura County, but let's just say the 3-mile radius regarding here. I know I live, like I said, very close by, and I can wipe the gunk off my decks, front, back, windows, everywhere, and it's all because of the port. So my question to you, it says here that you are green, you're going green, and I know talking with Wilberg, there was mention of doing plug-ins with some of the ships. You know, you had started that, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know if that's been completed or not, but these are my thoughts, and wanted to know, it talks about the air quality here. The port provides shoreside power for vessels and air quality improvement over the past 30 years of the life of the project. But I really don't know exactly what that means. Is that air quality regarding the port, or is that air quality if I was in a neighborhood of, you know, down the street 10 miles from the port? So those are just my concerns that I had. And also want to say thank you so much for bringing the Banana Festival in. It's a great opportunity for folks to come out here and go out and enjoy the port too. So thank you.
Thank you so much for those comments. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Can we have notes concerning your concerns. And we'll record, we're gonna address those for you, Sharon. We'll give you, detailed information concerning what we've done with the shoreside power and what the ships have been doing with their fuels and things of that nature to reduce pollution in the area. But there's been a lot that has been taking place, especially in that concern.
Mr. President,
Yes.
John, we're going to see that. I turn my microphone on. I'm not turning. So, could you talk about the process after we hear the comments from the audience tonight? What's the process in addressing all of the comments that we have coming up?
That's a good question. Commissioner, we are recording all the comments, we're taking copious notes, and then we will absorb all of those, digest them, we're going to plug them back into a final draft that we'll bring back before the board in a workshop format to make sure that we've hit all the high notes, capturing all the feedback, and we have a plan that you're comfortable adopting.
And when do you anticipate that coming back to the board?
I would imagine within the next month, after tonight's meeting, give us some time to digest all the feedback and put it into a public document.
Okay. So stay tuned for the...
Yes. Yes, and this is why we're here to hear all the feedback.
Okay.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? You don't need a comment card at this time. You just want to step up and state your name. Yes? You look familiar.
Good evening, commissioners, and thank you for hosting tonight for this event. And I just wanted to express my gratitude to the board for taking the time to listen to the customers and their concerns. Del Monte's, I'm the port manager for Del Monte Fresh Produce, for those of you who don't know me, and have been in Port Hueneme for over 20 years, and Del Monte has been here since 1979. So we're in our 36th year here, soon to be 37. Long before the taking down of the NCL property or a lot of changes have happened. And our business has remained relatively the same, the way that we process, that we move cargo. It's just that we do it a lot, we just do it differently, and we do it more, larger volumes than certainly when we began, and we're glad to continue to grow and prosper here in Port Hueneme. But it's just a different world, the way that all corporations are operating in with the environmental issues. And so I'm glad to hear the comments from the public about that, because I think we have made great strides as a company, and I know the board has made a lot of strides. So when that information is available. But the process of this strategic plan is what I wanted to address. Thank you for the input from the customers, and I think it's great that when I went to my files today to look up a few things, I noticed that there was files dating back just about that 3 years when the first contact went out about the process, and it was it's amazing the amount of information that's been gathered, the numerous interviews, and across the wide spectrum that you've asked for the input. So I can only think if there was such a great process like this 36 years ago when Del Monte first started, where we might be today, but that certainly shows that where we can go in the future. So thank you for the effort, and I really appreciate the opportunity to give my input here this evening as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would care to address? Yes, feel free to come forward.
Good evening, President Herrera and Commissioners. Tracy Sisson-Phillips with the Hueneme Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to echo both Nancy and Bruce's comments from an economic development perspective and business community. Thank you again for the opportunity to participate early on in the process and your willingness to hear from the business community and from the residents. Not only am I part of the business community, but I've been a resident of Port Hueneme for 40 years. And it is a unique position I'm in, being the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce and a resident, because sometimes I find I do have conflicting views of what happens in the city that I work and the city in which I live. So finding a balance that works for both sides is especially important to me, and anything that the Hueneme Chamber can do to help assist and move that process forward is something that we stand ready to do as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Elizabeth Horn. I'm the Executive Director of Future Ports, and I don't have prepared comments tonight, but I just wanted to come up and say how much we appreciate being a part of the stakeholder process and having an opportunity to participate in some of the previous meetings, and look forward to being a part of the future as well. I do, as others, want to echo the comments that have been made so far with the comprehensiveness of the plan. Terrific job by the staff and all of you putting all of this together, and just really look forward to being a part of that. Also want to thank you for your support of Future Ports Conference, and to let us have Kristen a couple of weeks ago to come down and moderate one of our panels, and to have Will there with the Ports to People game that you use at the Banana Fest, and just really appreciate everything that you all have done. And again, look forward to being a part of that in the future. We have distributed this plan to our board of directors, and we are looking forward to getting some comments to you, more constructive comments in the next week or so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Chaz Rogers with the Naval Base of Ventura County as a CPLO, Community Planning Liaison Officer.
Chance, would you maybe the folks in the back aren't hearing you? I don't know.
Can you hear me now? Okay, sorry about that. My name is Chaz Rogers. I'm the Naval Base of Ventura County Community Planning Liaison Officer. I came on board in March, just moved out here from Annapolis, Maryland. And I just wanted to step by and get a chance to speak to you and introduce myself. And also, I haven't had the opportunity to review the strategic plan, but I'm definitely impressed by the interaction you have with the community and how you've embraced the relationship with the Navy. And so I think it'd be a great opportunity for me to interact with you and be able to review the documents. So I believe I actually have a meeting with Kristen coming up, and just want to, I gave you my contact information. And by the way, the CEO you're talking about is Captain Mark Ellison.
Yeah, that's.
I knew I was going to think about that.
Thank you.
So if anybody can contact me about, I'd like to be able to get my feedback, and definitely my interaction with the base. I work from Point, most time, Point Magoo, but on Mondays I'm at Port Hueneme. So feel free to contact me anytime.
Chaz, before you go, our relationship with the Navy, it has always been very important to us. When we talk about the history of the port, in the early days back in the 50s, 60s, most of the work that was generated through the port was Navy related. And then as commercial cargo started to come in, things started to change drastically. But the good thing is that always, the manpower and equipment and every improvement that the Oxnard Harbor District has made has always been available to the Navy in time of national emergency. And that's been a great synergy and a great cooperative effort, I think, that we've always had together. And I'm sure that's going to continue in the future without question. So, if there's any opportunity for us to work and improve on that area, let us know, and we'll certainly be willing to continue to talk about it.
Well, let me tell you about how important Hueneme is to the Navy. I've worked in D.C. at the Washington Navy Yard, at the Naval Academy, which is the flagship institution for the Navy, out in Japan, South Korea, Japan, and I can tell you, everybody who works for the Navy knows Port Hueneme in one way, shape, or form. So that tells you how important. It's home of West Coast Seabees, XWIC is headquarters for XWIC, which is Expeditionary Warfare Command, the CO who's leaving at the end of the month. So Port Hueneme may be a little place on the map, but a lot of people know it Navy-wide and know the importance of it. So I'm definitely interested in engaging with you on the relationship with the Navy. And that's my job too, intergovernmental relations with the Navy and local jurisdictions. I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of the folks in the local community, and I just look forward to working with you, okay?
Thank you. We want to continue to be good neighbors, good partners, and good friends with the United States Navy. Anybody else would like to come up and make a comment?
I'm British, so you might need a translation.
Just speak slowly.
I live at Surfside 4, and when I bought the condo, there's a railroad that travels to the port at the back of the condo, and they said it wasn't going to ever be used, but this lady said it's open to any kind of, it can be used at any time.
Well, I think
There's a rail going.
the rail, I think the last time we used it was when they made a movie.
Back to the Future.
It is an asset of the harbor. We do have active rail that runs at the port right now. There isn't cargo necessarily running on that line that goes down to the Oxnard, but it is part of our strategic review to see how to maximize our assets.
So how would we know if it's going to be active again?
Well, we're going through very open, transparent public processes such as this, and we'll definitely keep the community very informed if opportunities like those.
As soon as it happens.
No, we appreciate your input.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, is there anyone else with a public comment? There we go. Good looking gentleman.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to speak in front of everyone. First, I'd like to say I really have enjoyed the active discussion that we've had with the 2020 plan. I interface with a lot of different ocean ports and a lot of different facilities, and I find the open communication very positive. Out of the plan, from our standpoint, excuse me, maybe I should introduce myself. I'm Don Assa. I work for Global Auto Processing Services. So we're one of the customers that import and export automotives out of Port Hueneme. I'm also a resident of Port Hueneme. I really enjoy living here. I moved here from Long Beach and originally Michigan. It's a great place, and I'd say we're all lucky to live in such a wonderful climate. I focus on how things that the 2020 plan are going to do to improve both commercial opportunities for myself and my company, as well as how it will improve life as a resident for me. Deepening the wharf infrastructure to 40 feet, absolutely critical for Port Hueneme to be able to compete with other ports, especially as a niche port. Having a vessel that has a depth of 32 feet or 37 feet has zero economic impact. All it does is bring extra commerce into the port. Absolutely critical. I think those are great steps that you're taking. Shoreside power efforts. It's been a bigger deal on the fruit side, not necessarily on the ro-ro side, but it will eventually be mandated. We've seen it in Europe. It's going to come to California. It's a great thing economically for us and also environmentally. Increasing on and off dock properties. I think everybody right now is looking for expansion opportunities. It's critical to grow the port. The use of the joint use property, the agreement between Oxnard Harbor District and the Navy, absolutely critical. It's been great for everybody who's used it, and any expansion of that will be beneficial for everyone. I find it interesting to see that we're 28th in the world in infrastructure, transportation-wise. So I know there's a lot of benefits of investing more in our infrastructure. And Jess, your comments about growth over the next 20 years is absolutely correct. We have to grow the infrastructure to be able to support the U.S. economy. Kristen, I know you're well aware of it with everything that you're involved in, and I appreciate all your efforts to try to go out there and get the grants. There's a tremendous amount of money from a federal perspective that ports go out there and get. And I think for a long time, Port Hueneme missed out on that. And I appreciate the efforts by the commissioners, the staff, to go out there and get that money to try to improve. Absolutely critical. So overall, I'd like to say I thank you for all your efforts. I think environmentally sometimes maybe some of the residents might suffer a little bit. I know I live right on Hueneme Road. Every time I hear a truck go by, I actually don't mind it that much. I think to myself, I'm like, well, that's good. That's another job that we're creating in the community. So I appreciate it. And I know the 200 direct employees that we employ in Port Hueneme appreciate it. And I know all the additional jobs that we create through the functions that we go through, those people appreciate it. We're not a resort community. If we want to be a resort community, then I think we have a different strategy. We're a commercial community, and it's a great place to live. So thank you for all your efforts. It is appreciated.
Thank you very much for those comments. Is there anyone else that would like to? Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Eric Shen. I'm the director of Southern California Gateway Director for Maritime Administration. 44 days to the job, 8 years spent in Port of Long Beach. So I very much look forward to working with you. Port of Hueneme is one of 4 ports within my area of responsibility, and I applaud you under the leadership of Kristen because a very well respected port executive among our colleagues. We look forward to seeing your plan put in place, and we look forward to your prosperity. And my job is to be your strongest conduit to all resources that are available to you. So once again, thanks for allowing me to make a comment.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board?
Yeah, distinguished commissioners, my name is Norm Plott. I represent the West County Division Operations Chief. And I would just like to say, it's all about having a plan. And I did review the plan. I appreciate page 23 with cooperating agencies. I'd just like to say that you have a great leadership team with John and Christina. We recently, in your support for Coastal Trident, which is local responders getting together to understand port operations and business that you do here. I feel as though the first responders are better suited because of the plan and the cooperation that you provide local first responding agencies, fire departments, and law enforcement. Recently, we had a drill where we trained almost 2,000 hours of training, 138 firefighters, port operators, and law enforcement that went through the training here in the Port of Hueneme, and have a better understanding of the safety that's involved in working around the port and working around business. Chuck, sitting right here with Del Monte, provided the vessel with crew, the meetings prior to the event that made it successful, along with willingness lines that gave us the RORO ship that firefighters were able to respond on. Mike over here with the tug operations, providing his vessels available for understanding the availability to provide water in the event of emergency. So you have not only the business, but the partnership that's listed in the plan, both the partnership with business and your first responders, that in the event that there was ever an emergency, it'll be handled better because of cooperation between business and first responders. So I applaud your leadership here at the port and also the Commission for your strategic plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner?
So if somebody didn't want to speak tonight, or they go home and review this plan, do they have a vehicle to respond to to the plan? And if so, what time, how long can we go out to answer more questions, address more questions?
Yes, Commissioner, we've actually, in our postings and online, have both Donna Lacayo and Will Berglisson's as emails listed. It's down here. And we can continue to collect feedback. We did have a 30-day window, but hearing what we've heard tonight, I think it's important that we extend it. So I suggest that perhaps we extend it one more month and then meet in August to have our workshop to make sure we integrate all the comments.
Thank you. Anybody else with a comment? No other comments? I think it's, we talked about history and community. I think it's be a good time to point out that we have the Honorable John Sharkey here from the city of Hueneme, who's been one of our partners since 1994. John, is that right? Same as me, 94. Okay. And we have past executive director Bill Bunger, who knows well about the NCL property and Sunkist site and things of that nature. Give us a wave there, Bill. Wake up. And of course, we have Orbeen Carpenter, distinguished citizen and mayor of the city of Hueneme. Where are you, Orbeen? Did you go? Oh, there you are. I can see it. So I want to thank you all for being here and participating in this important event for us. Unless there's some other comments, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Okay, we will take about a 5-minute recess. Thank you.